There's no need for us to go yet. Stay and drink another cup of wine. And tell us why you're so impatient to sail to India.
For two reasons, Father. First, because there are thousands of heathen in those parts waiting to be converted. And because they are rich in gold and spices.
The first reason is better than the other.
Gold has its uses.
True, and most of them bad. But why sail to the west?
Because that's the quickest route to India.
How can that be when India is to the east?
You agree that the earth is a sphere, like this.
That is the accepted belief among philosophers.
Very well. Then here is Spain, and here are India, China, and Japan. Now, if instead of traveling east by land, we travel west by sea, we come in some 3,000 miles to Japan again.
Do you seriously believe in a new world across the ocean?
I'd stake my life on it.
You may be asked to do that one day.
I am ready.
If I can arrange for you to see the Queen, I said if. You'll be ready with evidence and arguments to support your case?
Madam, I can talk for 2 hours on the subject without repeating myself.
I don't doubt it. But please save that for the Queen.
Then I shall see her.
Call on me again next Thursday, and I'll tell you what progress I've made.
But I... Your servant, madam.
I'm where you're going, idiot.
I humbly beg your lordship's pardon.
I am not a lord.
I trust that omission will soon be rectified.
Who's he? I haven't seen him about before, have I?
No, but I think you may see a great deal of him in the future.
Hmm? What's his line?
New worlds across the sea.
What new world? Where?
He wants their majesties to give him a fleet of ships so that he can sail west across the ocean and come to Japan and India that way.
Then he's crazy.
He seems very sure of himself.
Stuff and nonsense. The whole thing's ridiculous. We shall be the laughingstock of the civilized world.
Stuff and nonsense. The whole thing's ridiculous. We should be the laughingstock of the civilized world.
Exactly what I said, sire.
Let us at least hear all he has to say before we condemn him.
We've more important things to do than to listen to sailors' stories about imaginary islands. There's a war on. You have our leave to withdraw, sir.
But your majesty...
You have our leave to withdraw.
Master Columbus?
Yes?
I have a message for you. The Queen will see you in her apartments tomorrow morning.
The Queen?
At 11 o'clock.
Come closer. I dislike speaking to people at a distance. You seem to have interested the Duke of Medina Thali in your idea, as well as Father Perez. He writes that he is ready to help you. What do you say to that?
It's a matter for the crown, madam. It's too great a thing for anyone less.
You seem to have impressed the Duke.
I talked to him, your majesty.
Has he talked to you too, Chancellor?
He does nothing else but talk, your majesty.
I understand you have also talked to expert gentlemen in Portugal who were not impressed.
They know very little in Portugal, madam.
Indeed. That is rather my experience with my own experts. Talk to me then freely, but briefly.
Briefly, madam. With all the proofs I have to give, an hour at least.
An hour? I'm indulging myself as it is.
Assuredly, madam.
Now then, briefly.
I have knowledge of certain lands to the west, which can be reached.
Yes. India is to be reached by a short western passage. I know all that. I've read it in these letters. Forget your maps and reckonings and calculations. They may be right or wrong. But when you speak of new lands along this route, what is it that you imagine? What is it that you see?
I see an empire for the sovereigns of Castile and Aragon such as no monarch ever dreamed of. A land whose illimitable riches would pay for these Moorish wars 12 times.
What else?
The Holy Sepulchre itself could be rescued from the power of Mohammed. It's an ambition many great princes have lived for and have died without seeing. Humbly, it is mine, for the glory of your majesty.
You have heard that the noblest aims can cause men to twist the facts to serve their theories.
Majesty, I am as sure of what I shall discover as if it were under lock and key in my room at home. Set all my proofs aside, and this I still know, that I was elected, preordained, inspired.
Madam.
Oh, yes, very well. I think you had better remain here while the court stays. You shall be provided for meanwhile, and your project shall go to a royal commission. Does that satisfy you?
I am deeply grateful, Your Majesty,
But you're impatient, I know. You must curb your impatience and wait. It's good for the soul. Are you married?
My wife died some years ago, madam.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We are here, sir, by command of their Royal Highnesses, to hear your proposals in full detail, to weigh them and to question you, and afterwards to report on them to the sovereigns. You are assured of a fair and proper hearing, and I now invite you to set forth your arguments.
My proposals, gentlemen, begin and end with one assumption, that the Earth is round. A sphere, like a ball or an orange, and one deduction which I make from that assumption. If the Earth is round, and who nowadays doubts it, it must follow that a man who traverses the Earth by land or sea will one day return to the point from which he started. That, in essence, is the foundation, the kernel of my proposals. In support of them, I have a mass of evidence which I fully believe will convince Your Excellency.
Master Columbus, we have been here for 3 days. We have listened most patiently to your proposals, your theories, your suppositions, your assumptions. But so far, we are without evidence of any sort. Have you no proof to give us?
With all due deference, I think you have had the proof. Proof by deduction is a form of proof known to every mathematician, and to a lesser degree by every mariner.
What do you say to that, my Lord Admiral?
The fellow's right enough. If you accept that the Earth is a sphere, then you must accept that by sailing to the west, you'll come to the east. If you go on long enough,